Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world that celebrates success but hides the process. A world that praises power but ignores the pain behind it. But let me tell you, this struggle is not your enemy, it's your trainer. It doesn't come to break you, it comes to build you. Every person you admire today once walked through something they never talked about. They were rejected, they were betrayed. They failed miserably. They doubted themselves in silence. But they had one thing in common: they refused to stay down. They turned struggle into strength, and the secret was not in their resources, it was in their mindset. So today, I want to give you 6 mindset shifts that will change your life, not in theory, but in practice. If you hold on to these, your pain will become your purpose, your struggle will become your strength, and your weakness will become your weapon. When life hits you hard, and I mean hard, the natural human response is to cry out, "Why me? Why is this happening to me? Why now? Why again? Why does it always have to be me?" That question seems to echo in our heads every time we face disappointment, betrayal, failure, or loss. It's the cry of someone who feels abandoned by opportunity, cornered by circumstance, and stripped of answers. And it's okay to ask that for a moment. But if you stay in that place, if you pitch your tent in that valley of victimhood, you'll never climb to the mountain of strength waiting for you. There's a higher question, a more powerful question. A question that transforms pain into purpose and suffering into significance. And that question is not, "Oh, why me?" but "What's in this for me?" You see, your struggle is not just something to survive, it's something to study. Your pain is not just something to endure, it's something to extract value from. Life doesn't throw things at you to destroy you. It places you in situations to develop you, to refine you, to prepare you for something greater than what you're currently equipped for. Think about it. Every successful person you admire or follow on social media, they didn't get to where they are by avoiding hardship. They got there because they faced it, embraced it, and learned from it. They didn't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" They asked, "What is this trying to teach me?" That's the game changer. That's the mindset that separates the defeated from the developed. Let me take it to your real life. Imagine a single mother working 2 jobs, barely sleeping, constantly worried about bills, her child's future, her own exhaustion. She could easily say, "Why me?" But if she changed that question to, "What's in this for me?" suddenly her mind shifts from despair to discovery. She begins to see that through the struggle, she's becoming stronger. She's learning discipline, resilience, sacrifice. She's mastering time management. Her child is watching her and learning what strength looks like in human form. That struggle is making her a leader, a warrior, an example, not just a survivor. Or take a young man who just got rejected for the 3rd job in a row. The world tells him he's not good enough. He starts to believe it. "Why me?" voice gets louder. But then something clicks and he asks, "What's in this for me?" Suddenly he realizes that rejection is redirection. He learns how to communicate better. He works on his confidence. He sharpens his skills. And eventually, he doesn't just land a job, he builds a career aligned with his purpose, not just a paycheck. That's the difference a mindset can make. Because the truth is, struggle is a school, and pain is a professor. And every hardship is a classroom you didn't enroll in, but you were still meant to attend. Life is the most honest teacher you will ever have. It gives you the test first and the lesson later, but only if you're willing to learn from it. And here's something deep: if you keep asking, "Why me?" your pain will have no purpose. But if you dare to ask, "What's in this for me?" your struggle will start to speak to you. It will start to unfold its wisdom. It will start to unlock the treasure buried inside the trial. Because behind every painful moment is a message. Behind every closed door is a redirection. And behind every delay is a development happening inside you. Your job is not to escape the struggle. Your job is to extract the strength it came to give you. Stop cursing the pressure. It's building you. Stop resenting the process. It's refining you. Stop questioning the pain. It's equipping you. And listen, this is not just about success. It's about becoming. The most dangerous thing in the world is not pain. It's wasted pain. Pain that didn't change you. Struggle that didn't strengthen you. Hardship that didn't humble you. You've got to decide, if I'm going to go through this, I'm not coming out empty-handed. If I cried for it, I'm going to grow from it. If it costs me peace, it's going to produce purpose. So the next time you're in a dark place, don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask, what is this preparing me for? Because that shift in thinking, that single question, can move you from bitterness to breakthrough, from confusion to clarity, from feeling like a victim to living like a victor. And don't just ask it once, make it a habit. When you fail, ask, what did I learn that success could never teach me? When someone leaves you, ask, what did their absence reveal about my own identity? When doors close, ask, what new path is this forcing me to discover? When plans fall apart, ask, what was I blind to before that I now see clearly? That's how transformation happens. That's how pain becomes power. That's how a broken heart becomes a beating force. You don't grow by staying safe. You grow by standing in the fire long enough to realize that it doesn't burn you. It builds you. That fire was never your finish. It was your forge. The place where your character is molded, your purpose is revealed, and your strength is solidified. But only if you stop asking, why me? And start asking, what's in this for me? Because everything changes the moment your mindset does. Most people, when they face a struggle, see it as a wall, an obstacle, a dead end, something standing between where they are and where they want to be. A wall feels final. It feels heavy, cold. It says, you can't go any further. And sadly, most people stop there. They stop dreaming, stop believing, stop fighting. Because they think the struggle is telling them they don't have what it takes. They think it's a sign to quit. But listen carefully. Struggle was never meant to stop you. It was meant to show you. Struggle is not a wall. Struggle is a second mirror. It doesn't block your path. It reveals your path. It reflects back who you are. And more importantly, who you've been all along but didn't know yet. See, when you look into a mirror, you see things clearly that were once hidden. Struggle does that. It doesn't come to hold you back. It comes as you hold you accountable. It forces you to meet the version of yourself you've been avoiding. Think about this. You don't know how strong your legs are until you walk uphill with weight on your shoulders. You don't know how much courage you have until fear is screaming in your ear and you decide to move forward anyway. You don't know how much discipline you possess until everything inside you says, give up. And you say, not today. Struggle introduces you to the hidden layers of yourself, the layers that success never shows. Because success doesn't test you. Struggle does. Success doesn't expose you. Pressure does. And here's the truth most people won't tell you. Struggle will tell you the truth about yourself when everyone else is telling you lies. People may clap for you even when you're faking it. But struggle doesn't care about your performance. It pulls back the mask. It shows you what you're really made of. It brings out your raw, unfiltered, unedited reality. I've seen students who failed repeatedly thinking they weren't smart enough. But the struggle didn't say, you're not smart. It said, you need to study harder. It said, you need to focus. It said, you need to stop comparing yourself to others and unlock your own rhythm. And the moment they looked in the mirror of that struggle, they realized the issue wasn't their ability. It was their belief. I've seen young entrepreneurs trying to build something from nothing. They were rejected, laughed at, broke, sleepless. And every time they hit a wall, they thought, maybe I'm not cut out for this. But the struggle wasn't pushing them back. It was holding up a mirror saying, here's where you need to grow. Here's the insecurity you still haven't faced. Here's the lack of patience that keeps ruining your progress. And the moment they stopped blaming the wall and started studying the mirror, their life started to change. You see, the mirror doesn't lie. It shows you your weaknesses, your flaws, your procrastination, your habits, your inner dialogue. But it also shows you your hidden strength, your unshakable resilience, the quiet fire that still burns in your soul despite all the storms. The fact that you're still here, breathing, showing up. That's not weakness, that's power. But here's the challenge: most people avoid the mirror. They don't want to face themselves. They'd rather blame the world, the system, the situation. But the struggle isn't something to run from. It's something to reflect on. The person you become on the other side of that mirror is someone you've never met before. Stronger, wiser, sharper, more focused. But you don't meet that version by climbing over walls. You meet it by looking into the mirror of your trials. When life gets hard, when things fall apart, when the door gets slammed in your face, ask yourself, what is this showing me about me? Not about them, not about the world, but about me. Because growth doesn't happen when you reach the top. It happens when you look into the mirror of your lowest point and say, this is who I am, and this is who I'm going to become. Your struggle is trying to introduce you to your potential. It's not a message of defeat. It's a reflection of possibilities. That's why struggle feels personal, because it is. It holds up a mirror and says, look at the fire in your eyes. Look at the strength in your bones. Look at the fact that you've been hit over and over, and yet you're still standing. That's not weakness. That's legacy in the making. In everyday life, this mirror shows up everywhere. When you lose a job, it's showing you your creativity, your ability to adapt. When your relationship ends, it's revealing what parts of you need healing and what boundaries you must protect. When your plans fall apart, it's reflecting your ability to pivot and persevere without losing your vision. The struggle is not mocking you. It's mentoring you. If only you're bold enough to look into it, not run from it. Because when you finally understand that struggle is a mirror, you stop being afraid of difficulty. You stop quitting at every inconvenience. You stop blaming everything outside and start mastering everything inside. That's when things begin to shift. Not because life got easier, but because you got clearer. The mirror doesn't change the room. It changes your awareness. And once you can truly see yourself, you stop being intimidated by the walls. Because you now realize they were never walls. They were always mirrors in disguise. Comfort is deceptive. It feels good, no doubt. It whispers sweet nothings to you while rocking you gently to sleep. It says, you've earned this, even when you haven't moved an inch. It convinces you that growth will come tomorrow, that goals can wait, and that dreams don't expire. But that's the lie. The truth is, comfort hides everything that matters. It hides your untapped strength. It hides your creative fire. It hides the urgency of your purpose. It numbs your hunger. It silences your vision. It wraps chains around your potential and paints them gold so they look like blessings. And by the time you realize what it's cost you, years have slipped through your fingers. Struggle, on the other hand, is a brutal but honest teacher. It doesn't flatter you. It doesn't coddle you. It doesn't wait for your permission. It bursts into your life like a storm, unannounced, unapologetic, and uncomfortable. But in that discomfort, as everything changes, because what comfort hides, struggle as reveals. Struggle strips you down. It exposes your excuses. It forces you to confront the weaknesses you've been hiding behind business and blame. It shows you where you've been lying to yourself. Take a simple example. A person who's always wanted to get in shape but keeps putting it off. As long as they're comfortable, they keep saying, I'll start Monday, or I'm just too tired today. Comfort tells them they're okay the way they are, even when they're out of breath climbing stairs. But then one day they face a medical scare, a diagnosis, a wake-up call. Now they're forced into struggle. And what happens? Suddenly, they wake up early. They cut the junk. They train harder. Not because the struggle is fun, but because it showed them something comfort never did, the price of delay. The value of health, the urgency of now. That's how struggle teaches. It doesn't pat you on the back. It pushes you to your edge. It says, here's what you're made of. Now, what are you going to do about it? It demands action. It breaks illusions. It kicks down the door of your lazy habits and forces you to rebuild your life brick by brick, discipline by discipline, decision by decision. Comfort might make you feel good, but struggle ours makes you great, and greatness is not found in soft pillows and easy mornings. It's found in sweat, in tears, in the moments you want to quit, but don't. It's in that space where everything inside you screams, stop, but something deeper whispers, keep going. I've seen people build empires from the floor, not because they had money or luck, but because they ran out of comfort. They were too broke to be distracted, too rejected to seek approval, too wounded to pretend everything was fine. And in that raw, uncomfortable, messy space, they found clarity. They found resilience. They found their fight. A student who's always been told they're average, as long as they stay in comfort, they'll believe it. But let them fail an exam that mattered. Let them sit with the pain of failure. Now, they've entered struggle, and if they choose to face it, not run, they'll begin to uncover something new. They'll study longer, ask better questions. Take ownership, and they'll realize they were never average. They were just asleep in their comfort. Comfort tells you what you want to hear. Struggle tells you what you need to hear. Comfort lets you exist. Struggle demands that you live. Comfort protects your pride. Struggle builds your character. Comfort hides your greatness beneath a blanket of fear, laziness, and routine. But struggle pulls the covers back, throws cold water on your excuses, and yells, "Wake up! You were made for more." When you've had everything handed to you, you become soft. But when you've had to fight for every inch, fight to be seen, fight to be heard, fight to be respected, something unshakable grows inside you. That's why the most powerful people in the world often come from the hardest places. Not because they were born strong, but because they weren't born with comfort. They were born with pain, pressure, and problems, and they learned to turn it into purpose. You can learn a lot about someone when they're comfortable, but you learn everything about them when they're under pressure. Comfort is an illusion of peace. Struggle is the forge of purpose. It's the moment your identity stops being an accident and starts being a decision. It's where you either fold or you are becoming. That's why you should never curse your struggles. They're doing more for you than comfort ever will. They're the reason you'll rise when others fall. They're the reason you'll stay grounded when success finally comes. And they're the reason you'll speak with authority, not because of theory, but because of the fire you've walked through. Strength is not always seen in the roar of victory. It's not always found in applause, in medals, or in the spotlight. Real strength, unshakable, unmovable, deeply rooted strength, is often quiet. It's the kind you carry when nobody is watching. It's what you endure, not what you flaunt. It's what you carry on your shoulders, deep inside your chest, behind closed doors, when your world is crashing and nobody knows. That's the kind of strength people rarely speak about, but it's the kind that changes lives from the inside out. We live in a world that celebrates loudness, loud confidence, loud power, loud success. The ones who talk the most often get the most attention. But true strength doesn't shout. It doesn't beg for recognition. It doesn't need to announce its presence. It shows up in silence. In the middle of the night, when someone cries into their pillow, but gets up again at dawn to face the day. That's strength. It's in the single father juggling 2 jobs, showing up every evening with a smile for his kids, even though his back aches and his heart feels like it's falling apart. It's in the student who fails an exam, gets laughed at, but chooses to study harder instead of giving up. It's in the woman battling illness quietly, who still shows up to work, still cares for her family, still encourages others without ever mentioning the storm inside her. Strength isn't always what you see. It's often what you wires don't. People carry mountains on their shoulders with no sign of strain on their face. They smile when they're shattered. They lift others while they themselves are barely standing. That kind of strength is rare. But it's real. And it's often the difference between those who merely exist and those who evolve. Let me tell you a truth that might hit hard. Just because someone is silent doesn't mean they're weak. Silence can be strength. Restraint can be power. Choosing not to retaliate, not to explain yourself, not to beg for validation. That's power. The one who can carry a burden without needing a stage is stronger than the one who needs applause for every small achievement. Think about the mother who never told anyone how scared she was during those lonely nights raising her children with barely enough money to put food on the table. She never asked for sympathy. She just did what had to be done. Day after day, sacrifice after sacrifice. And now her children are thriving, not because they knew how hard she fought, but because she chose to carry that weight silently so they wouldn't have to. That's strength. Think about the man who was told he'd never make it, who failed multiple times, who heard people laughing behind his back. But he never answered with noise. He answered with progress. While others talked, he moved. While they doubted, he built. While they mocked, he grew. That's the kind of strength that breaks generational curses and rewrites stories. Quiet strength, the kind that doesn't need permission to keep pushing forward. You see, the world respects what you can lift publicly, but your destiny is shaped by what you can carry privately, what you carry through pain, through loneliness, through uncertainty, the invisible weights, the mental battles, the emotional scars. That's where the real transformation happens. That's the gym where your soul trains. And every silent battle you fight is building a kind of character that can't be taken from you. It's not rented confidence, it's owned. Earned, birthed in fire. I've seen people fall apart after minor challenges and others stand tall after losing everything. What's the difference? It's not genetics, it's not luck. It's a mental and emotional muscle. The kind that's developed in the dark when no one is cheering. The kind that grows in the silence when all you have is your willpower and your why. Strength is not built on stage, it's built in solitude. In late nights when you're tired but you keep going. In early mornings when quitting would be easier but you choose discipline instead. There's a certain kind of individual who walks into a room and doesn't say much, but you can feel their presence. Not because they're loud, but because they've carried something heavy. You can sense the weight in their soul, the depth in their eyes. You don't need to hear their story. You can tell they've overcome. They carry quiet strength. And when they speak, people listen. Not because of their volume, but because of their ass vibration. Strength is not measured by how many people know your story. It's measured by how many people you've held a stress without ever telling your story dos. It's the strength to lift others when you feel weak, to encourage others while you're discouraged, to believe in others when no one believed in you. That's power. That's impact. That's legacy. So don't let the world fool you. You don't have to be loud to be powerful. You don't have to post every move you make to be valid. You don't have to broadcast your battles to prove you're strong. Real strength is what you carry in silence, what you endure in stillness, and what you rise from again and again without anyone ever knowing the full weight of what tried to break you. You're not a victim of struggle. You're a product of it. This is more than a statement. It's a mindset shift, a revolution in the way you view your pain, your process, and your purpose. Too many people walk through life with their heads down, carrying the heavy labels the world has thrown at them: failure, loser, broken, unlucky. Not enough. They wear their wounds like scars that define them, not realizing those very wounds were meant to shape the warrior inside them. You weren't born just to suffer, just to get through, just to exist and die forgotten. No, you were born with fire, forged for purpose, and destined to overcome. Struggle didn't come to victimize you. It came to activate you. It came to unlock the version of you that ease and comfort would never dare touch. You are not a mistake in motion. You are potential under pressure. And pressure creates diamonds, not dust. There's this lie people have believed for far too long, that the struggle disqualifies them. That if they went through a storm, it must mean they weren't strong enough to walk in sunlight. That if they made a mistake, they're no longer worthy of the miracle. But what if the struggle wasn't a stop sign? What if it was a doorway? What if your worst moment didn't destroy your destiny but prepared you for it? The child who grew up in a broken home, hearing fights more than lullabies, witnessing pain before joy, that child isn't doomed. That child is being equipped with emotional depth most adults never touch. That child, when he chooses to rise, becomes a leader who doesn't just sympathize with pain, but understands it intimately. And that understanding makes him dangerous in a world of surface level compassion. He becomes the voice others need when they don't even know how to scream for help. Look at the person who lost everything: job, family, hope, and had to rebuild with trembling hands. That person doesn't walk the same anymore. They carry a wisdom that books can't teach, a fire that empty motivation can't light, because they've been through the valley. They've heard the silence of abandonment. They've tasted the bitterness of disappointment. And still, they rose. That's not a victim. That's a product of struggle. Struggle doesn't shrink you. It stretches you. It pulls out of you things you didn't know existed. It introduces you to your perseverance. It activates your instinct. It teaches you the language of resilience. And most importantly, it humbles your ego while strengthening your soul. You become less dependent on praise and more anchored in purpose. You stop asking for shortcuts and start respecting the grind. Think about the butterfly. Before it ever flies, it's trapped in darkness, alone, confined, pressed. The cocoon isn't a punishment, it's a process. It's in that tight, suffocating space that wings are formed. Not in the open air, not in celebration, but in solitude, in struggle. The same is true for you. The season that felt like isolation was actually transformation. The stage of your life that felt like rejection was really redirection. People love to applaud the success, but they rarely respect the struggle. And that's why it's your job to stop seeking validation from those who didn't see the nights you cried and still created, the days you fell and still showed up, the battles you lost but still learned from. The struggle didn't cancel your calling, it qualified you. You don't speak from theory, you speak from experience. You don't encourage from a stage, you do it from a scar. And scars don't mean you're broken. Scars mean you survived. Scars mean you healed. Scars mean you've got a story that the world needs to hear. In daily life, we see it all the time. The mother who raised 3 kids by herself while working night shifts, coming home with tired eyes but an undying spirit. She wasn't given an easy road, but look at what it made her: resilient, focused, fierce. She didn't become that way despite the struggle. She became that way because of it. The young boy who was bullied at school, made to feel invisible, laughed at because of his dreams. Years later, he stands on a stage with confidence that can't be shaken. Why? Because he faced rejection early, and he learned that acceptance starts within. He's not a victim of ridicule. He's a product of resolve. We've got to stop romanticizing the idea that greatness comes easy. It never has. It never will. The strongest oak tree grows in the harshest wind. The brightest steel is forged in the hottest fire. And the most impactful people are often born out of the deepest pain. Not because life hated them, but because purpose had to prepare them. You've cried tears no one saw. You've had conversations with yourself at 2 a.m., wondering if it's worth it. You've had moments where quitting seemed easier than continuing. But here's what you need to hear. You made it this far as not in spite of the struggle, but through it. Thus, every scar you carry is proof that the storm didn't win. Every time you got back up, you redefined what strength means. You are not just someone who went through pain. You are someone who came out of it changes, stronger, wiser, braver, and more unstoppable than ever before. Purpose makes pain make sense. Without purpose, pain feels random, like a cruel joke. It feels like life is punishing you without reason, dragging you through storms you never asked for and giving you wounds you didn't deserve. It's like being hit in the dark with no idea why or how long it will last. But the moment you discover your purpose, something shifts. Suddenly, every heartbreak, every failure, every betrayal starts to feel like a piece of something bigger. It doesn't erase the pain, but it gives the pain a reason to exist. It gives it a direction. It tells you that the suffering wasn't wasted. It was preparing you. People often ask, why did this happen to me? And that question haunts them. It keeps them stuck in cycles of regret, anger, and confusion. But when you flip that question and start asking, what is this preparing me for? Everything begins to align. You begin to see that the pain had a job. It came with an assignment. It was sent to sharpen something inside you, to awaken something you didn't even know existed. Think of a person who lost everything, a job they loved, a partner they trusted, a dream they poured everything into. At first, it feels like the ground has disappeared from under them. They can't sleep, can't breathe properly. Every day feels heavier than the last. But months later, when they've started a new path, when they've launched a mission they never considered before, they realize something profound. If that pain hadn't come, the purpose they're walking in now would have never been born. The breakdown birthed the breakthrough. The loss created the launch pad. The tears cleared the vision. That's when they say with a shaky voice, now I get it. Now I understand why I had to go through that. A purpose is the lens that brings your past into focus. Without it, your history feels like a blur of tragedies. But when purpose steps in, you can revisit your past without being crushed by it. You can look at your scars and say, that one taught me endurance. That one gave me empathy. That one unlocked my voice. You begin to wear your scars not as shame, but as armor. Imagine a man who grew up in a home full of chaos, abuse, anger, silence, and survival. He could have let that environment destroy him. He could have repeated the cycle. But instead, he chose to build something better. He became a counselor, a coach, a speaker. Every time he helped someone heal, he's reminded that his pain had purpose. It wasn't just suffering for the sake of suffering. It was a divine preparation. The chaos gave birth to clarity. And now, what once broke him is what builds others through him. There's a woman out there who was told she wasn't enough. Not smart enough, not pretty enough, not valuable enough. She was overlooked, underestimated, and ignored. She cried herself to sleep many nights, wondering what was wrong with her. But now, she runs a business that empowers other women. She writes books. She stands on stages. And the very voice that was once silenced now sets people free. That pain gave her the fire. It gave her the message. It gave her the boldness to step into the purpose that was waiting for her all along. The thing about pain is, it doesn't ask for permission. It just shows up. It barges in, wrecks your plans, interrupts your peace. But it always leaves something behind, a lesson, a strength, a story. And that story becomes your power when it's aligned with purpose. People will listen to you not because you have the most talent, but because you have the deepest truth. They will feel your authenticity. They will hear the echo of your struggle and your strength. Purpose gives your pain a platform. It turns the ashes into anthems. It turns the silence of your suffering into the loudest roar of your destiny. You become unshakable not because life got easier, but because you finally understood the assignment. You realize the pain didn't break you. It built you. It refined you. It carved out a version of you that could never have been born in comfort. That purpose doesn't make the pain disappear, but it makes it meaningful. And when pain becomes meaningful, it becomes bearable. And when it becomes bearable, it becomes powerful. There's nothing more dangerous than someone who knows their purpose and has made peace with their pain. That person walks differently, talks differently. They don't need to impress anyone. They've already impressed life by surviving what tried to destroy them. They no longer complain about the struggle because they've seen what the struggle gave birth to. They walk with quiet fire because they've met themselves in the fire. And once you've met yourself in the fire, you stop fearing the heat. You become the flame. So now I ask you, what if the thing you thought would break you was actually sent to build you? What if your struggle wasn't a curse, but a calling in disguise? What if every tear, every sleepless night, every rejection, every betrayal was life's way of preparing you for a version of yourself that is bolder, braver, and stronger than you've ever imagined? Let me tell you something that legends already know, F. Life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are willing to fight for. And every struggle you've endured was training for the next chapter. Every loss was a hidden lesson. Every closed door was protection. You see, strength isn't built in comfort. Diamonds aren't made in silence. They are made under pressure. Steel isn't forged in the sun. It is molded in fire. You didn't come this far to stop here. You didn't survive that pain to simply exist. You went through the storm so you could learn to command the thunder. You stumbled so you could learn how to rise. Because real strength is not found in never falling. It's found in rising after every fall with your fists clenched and your eyes locked on the horizon. You must remind yourself daily, I am not my struggle. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. There will be voices outside and inside telling you to quit, to stay small, to be silent. But those voices don't know your vision. They didn't see the nights you cried in silence. They didn't feel the weight you carried alone. So why should they get to decide how your story ends? As Dr. Myles Munroe once echoed in his spirit-filled truth, the greatest tragedy in life is not death, it's life without a purpose. And when you find that purpose, your struggles become sacred. They become fuel. They become the evidence that you didn't just survive, you transformed. Let the world underestimate you. That's fine. Let them doubt your comeback. Let them mock your silence. Let them walk away. But promise yourself this, I will rise from this. I will turn this pain into power, this mess into a message, and this setback into a setup for my greatest leap forward. Because greatness was never about comfort. It was always about courage. You have to dig deep now. Deeper than ever before. There's a fire inside of you, and it's been burning quietly, waiting for this exact moment to roar. Don't you dare let it die out. Don't you dare dim your light because others are too afraid to shine. You are not here to blend in. You are here to break molds, to break limits, to break cycles. You were not given the storm to drown in it. You were given the storm to rise above it. Like an eagle that uses the wind of resistance to soar higher, you too must rise on the winds of adversity. You too must declare, I may have been knocked down, but I was never knocked out. I may have been broken, but I am not defeated. You are more than what happened to you. You are becoming something unshakable, something eternal. Remember this, when you walk through fire and come out stronger, you become a light for others still stuck in the dark. Your strength won't just lift you, it will lift others. Your story will become someone else's survival guide. Your voice will echo in the hearts of people who have forgotten their own. So rise with intention. Rise with resilience. Rise with the mindset that changes everything. The mindset that says, my struggle is not the end of me. It's the beginning of something greater within me. Because in the end, it's not about never struggling. It's about never staying down. The world belongs to those who refuse to give up. You are not done yet. You are just getting started.